The Art of Leadership Network.
Hey leaders, welcome to the Lead Culture Podcast. We're a part of the Art of Leadership Network. I'm your host, Jenni Catron, CEO of the Foresight Group. We're a company dedicated to helping leaders develop thriving teams. Each week, I'll be your guide as we explore practical strategies to equip you with the tools you need to lead with clarity, confidence, and build unstoppable momentum in your organization. Now, my mission is to be your trusted coach, empowering you to master the art of self-leadership so you'll learn to lead yourself well so you can lead others better. Each week, we take a deep dive on a leadership or culture topic. You'll hear stories from amazing guests and leaders like you who are committed to leading well. So let's dive in and keep learning on this leadership journey together. Friends, I've been spending a lot of time talking to leaders, thinking through this, and just recognizing how hard leadership feels right now. Does that resonate? Do you feel that? Like it just feels hard. There's a lot going on in our world. There's a lot we have to navigate as leaders, and even just helping, even if those things don't directly apply to our organization, they're impacting our teams. And so that weight of leadership, it just feels heavy. It just feels heavy. And I just felt like I wanted to stop and kind of acknowledge that there is a weight and a responsibility to leadership that I think sometimes we're so busy doing the things that we need to do as a leader that we are not pausing to recognize the weight that we're bearing. I can remember earlier on in my leadership journey, I had moved into a second chair of leadership. And so the majority of the staff reported to me, and I didn't have a peer. I was number 2 in the organization and I didn't have a peer. Everybody else reported into me in one way or another. And by the way, I don't think that structure is always ideal. Sometimes it's just what it needs to be for a season. But what it did is it created a really lonely seat for me, and that I reported to the senior leader and then everybody else reported to me. And I remember having this moment of awareness of how lonely I felt. Like I felt the responsibility for leading the team and, providing direction and guidance and coaching and support and, all the things that go with leadership. And feeling completely in over my head, frankly, because it was the first time I had had that level of authority and responsibility. But I also remember feeling so incredibly lonely. And it was the first time that I acknowledged that I needed to find my tribe. I needed to find other people in similar seats in other organizations who understood and could be a place of processing, a sounding board, encouragement, support. I realized that, historically I'd had peers in the organization. And so those were kind of your comrades in, navigating the dynamics of the workplace. And then in the seat that I was in, I was the only one at that level. And so it was the first time I did like a cohort where I found peers in similar roles and with similar responsibilities. And it became a lifeline for me. Now, fast forward, and I find that there have been different points in my journey with the work that I do now at Foresight where I have felt really passionate about helping leaders find their people. For years, I did women in leadership cohorts because a lot of times I would be connecting with women who were the only women at like the executive table. And so it was an opportunity and a place for me to help them find one another and have kind of that safety of peers. And that was so rewarding. And I still am very connected. Many of you listening were in those cohorts through the years. And that was so incredibly valuable. And last year, I decided to sunset those cohorts just because of other strategic initiatives. And then this year, I really became burdened about how many culture champions feel like they're the only one in their organization. Now, you might not have the title of culture champion, but you're the person who wakes up every day thinking about how to steward the talent of your team. You might be the senior leader. You might be somebody on the executive team. You might be an HR professional. You might just be somebody in a mid-level seat in your organization who just gets it and cares deeply about employee engagement and the environment and the experience for your team. Like you just have a we all value it. I think most leaders value the importance of culture, but some of you wake up every day concerned about it. And I get to talk to you at conferences that I speak at, or you send in emails and notes from a podcast you've listened to, or you respond to one of our weekly insights newsletters telling us what connected and how valuable it was. But I get to talk to you in some of those moments. But what I recognized is that I really wanted to create a space where we could more deliberately connect you to one another and then equip you to lead culture well. And so you've heard me talk about this a little bit, but the Lead Culture Network we have just launched, and actually it's in its kind of beta testing form. We're doing a founding member registration for the rest of the year. And it's for people like you who are already connected into our community. You listen to the podcast, you subscribe to our Insights newsletter, you've worked with us in some capacity, and culture matters to you. Leadership matters to you. And by the way, those two things go hand in hand, which is why I call the framework the Lead Culture Framework. It's the Lead Culture Podcast. It's the Lead Culture Network, because leadership and culture to me are inextricably linked, that we can't have great cultures without great leaders, and great leaders won't stay in bad cultures. And so these two things go hand in hand. It's why we do leadership coaching. It's why we do the culture. We lead organizations through the culture framework. They just go hand in hand. But the network was really a vision for me of saying, I want to create a network of culture champions who are committed to developing the skills to lead well and build a plan that unleashes the full potential of your team. Because what I know from my conversations with so many of you is that you know it matters. You wake up every day and you've got your pulse on it. Like you just kind of know, are we okay? Are we not okay? But so often you don't know what to do about it, right? You hold your breath, cross your fingers when it's good, and you just hope nothing gets messed up. And then when it's not great, you're kind of scrambling to figure out, do we need to do another staff event, or what do we need to do to help us keep our culture healthy? And so the network is a place where I am helping equip you with the tools from the framework in a more actionable way. You have like access to me, you have access to my coaches, you have access to resources, things that you would have access to if you were hiring us to come in and do a full consulting engagement with you. But we wanted to create a place where you also had the camaraderie and connection of other culture champions, because that to me is where some of the best value is hearing what other people are doing and being inspired by their stories, hearing that you're not the only one that's struggling with only 31% of employees engaged in their work, right? Like knowing that we're not alone is so critical to being able to continue to lead well. So the network is just launched and it's designed for you. It's designed for the person who wakes up thinking about, how do I lead well and how do I build a great culture? I'm going to come back and tell you a little bit more about the network, how to get involved, etc. But I want to just acknowledge again this weight of leadership and maybe even try to put some language to why I think it feels extra heavy right now. Earlier this year, Gallup's State of the Workplace report came out, and it said that only 31% of U.S. employees are engaged in our work. Well, that's less than 1 in 3. Like if you think about that, I was talking to a leader a few weeks ago, and I kind of just offhandedly shared that statistic, and he was like, wait a minute, right? Like you just scared the pants off of me. If only 1 in 3 of my employees are engaged, that's a problem. And I'm sure it's perhaps not that extreme for you, but it's an important wake-up call, because I do think just the myriad of things going on, the temperature in our broader culture at large has a heaviness that is impacting everybody on your team. There's a heaviness, there's a weightiness that it's hard for them to be engaged because of the other things that they're navigating. And so that puts a responsibility on us as leaders to be mindful about how are we leading through that. We've got to be conscious and aware of there are a lot of things pulling for the disengagement of our team. I want to acknowledge what you're already feeling is my goal. I'm not trying to like make it worse for you. I'm trying to acknowledge what I suspect you're already feeling. You're already feeling that it's a heavy lift to get your team on board with you right now. And I think it's because this statistic is just kind of a reflection of that. Only 31% of US employees are engaged in your work. That is just a statistic I want us to be aware of. I don't want to create an alarmist like overemphasize it, but I want it to guide you for you to go, what's true about our culture right now? What's true about our team and their dynamics? And then what can I do? Like, what can I do as a leader to lean into that? We've had some really fun and remarkable stories from some of the organizations we've been able to work with over the past few years, and seeing their engagement scores go significantly up year over year. We had one organization that we've worked with for over 2 years now. And in those 2 years, their employee engagement has gone up over 20%. That's a massive shift. Like, I know 20%, you're like, oh, but like if you think about 20% growth for your organization, that's a big number year over year, right? So the fact that this team has seen over 20% engagement go up in just a couple of years is really significant. And so that's the kind of thing I want you to experience, even though it's just challenging in many ways right now. I don't think we need to give into it. I think we just need to lean in and be even more strategic about how we're leading our teams and creating places that great people want to be a part of. Because here's the thing, while only 31% of US employees are engaged, and while there's a lot of things pulling on them, the job market is kind of meh, people want to be a part of great places. Like, they're giving the best hours of their day to the work that we're doing. And what we get to do, the privilege of leadership, is that we get to steward the talent of people. I deeply believe, and this is a core philosophy for me in leadership, is that we get to steward. It's a sacred work of leadership. There's a stewardship of the gifts, the talents, the experiences, the opportunities of every individual on your team, like the uniqueness of every person on your team. My book, Clout, Discover and Unleash Your God-Given Influence, talks about that. Of we've got to understand our own influence. And then we've got to understand the uniqueness and the giftedness of every person on our team. And then if we can take that and we can align it to our mission, that's when our teams become unstoppable. And that's the opportunity for us as leaders. So this is what culture champions wake up every day thinking about, is how do I take this giftedness of my team and align it to help us achieve our mission? One of my other definitions of culture is the stewardship of people in pursuit of our mission. That we get to steward these individuals that God has assembled to work with us, and we get to help them accomplish this mission that we're really proud to be a part of. That's remarkable. And that's the framework or the philosophy that we need to have when we think about leading culture, is that's what we get to do. And so part of developing the network was trying to create a space to equip you to do that. That, again, the whirlwind of all the things you have to do every day, because here's the thing I know about you. You probably don't get to just be a culture champion. Most of you have a different title. You might be an executive director. You might be the CEO. You might be the HR director. You might be the head of a department within your organization. But you wear the culture champion hat. It's something you are passionate about, and you try to give time and energy to it, whether officially or unofficially. Some of you have been officially given the responsibility of culture champion. Some of you have just owned it. I have a leader named Jamie that I got to work with for a couple of years, and she was the head of a department within her organization, super passionate about culture. But it wasn't on her job responsibilities. But she just saw the impact of culture on the broader organization. And she tried to influence the whole organization a bit more, but kind of hit some roadblocks. So she just focused on her team. She just said, you know what? I'm going to take everything I'm learning about leading a good culture, and I'm going to apply it to the team that I have responsibility for and influence with. And I'm just going to do that. And you guys, it was remarkable how Jamie's team became a standout in the organization, in a very positive way, where the rest of the organization was seeing high turnover and disengagement and, just tensions and frustrations and infighting. And not that those things go away altogether, but significantly a problem within the broader organization. Jamie's team didn't have those problems. Jamie's team, she had strong retention. They were hitting all their goals and their metrics. everything was up and to the right for her team. And I truly believe it was because she got intentional about just investing in her team and the experience and the environment for her team. So whether you officially have the title of culture champion in your organization, or if it's just something you're really passionate about and you want to have influence in, just start where you are. Start with the team you have influence with, and then join us in the network so we can keep equipping you to influence culture throughout your organization. So let me tell you really quick, just a little bit more about the network. It's really a space designed for leaders like you who care deeply about building thriving and unstoppable teams. And here's what you'll find in the network. We have the full Lead Culture course library, practical tools to help you lead culture with confidence. So I have actually just recorded a whole course on the whole framework that you could literally watch the course and implement it in your organization. And so we're going to be releasing that almost weekly. We're releasing a new module of that course. We also have our Leadership Institute course. And some of you might remember we used to have a resource called the Leadership Institute, and it was just practical management skills for leaders at any level of the organization. That is in there. So just basic leadership skills. If you need some help on how to have hard conversations or time management, like just some of those core skills, we have courses in there for you on leadership skills. I'm going to do a monthly live training in the network where I am talking about what I'm learning about culture or leadership, what I'm seeing, it's the things that I'm kind of observing and wrestling with, stuff that I'm not sharing with the public yet, but I want to process with people who are passionate in learning and we can learn together. So I'm going to do monthly trainings inside the network, exclusive to the network. We're going to do Q&As and hot seats where you can get real-time feedback for your leadership or culture challenges. So you can hop on a live call with myself or one of our lead culture certified coaches, and they're going to help coach you through whatever challenge or dynamic you're navigating. And it's also a great place for you to just tell success stories too. So we're going to have places for you to live hear from others and be coached. And then there's just the Culture Champion Network, a community of leaders committed to culture work where you can ask questions. You can share some of what you're doing. One of my favorite things is leaders just sharing what you're doing inside of your organization and sharing pictures and telling us stories about what's working or what you tried and it didn't work. And so we can give each other that feedback inside that community. So you guys, it is going to be a remarkable place for us to keep learning and growing and find your people. Like if you felt like you're on an island as the culture champion in your organization, these are your people. This is your place. And if you join us now, you'll join as a founding member and you'll get early access to all of these things that I've talked about. And then you'll get kind of grandfathered in at the founding member prices that we're going to do. It's $49 a month, which you guys is less than $600 a year to transform your culture. So I would just want you to think about this. Like sometimes we're like, oh, $49 a month. Do I have the budget? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's less than $600 a month. And I promise you, I can barely do a one-on-one coaching call for that. So this is a great opportunity for you to get access and connection to both myself, our team of coaches, and other culture champions, and really be equipped to transform your culture. So it is a no-brainer in your budget. Even if you're finalizing 2026 budgets, put this in there and go ahead and get registered because it's going to go up in January. In January, we go to $79 a month. So right now, if you get in at the founding member price. You stay grandfathered in at that price for as long as you stay registered. If you cancel and you re-up, then you're going to be in new pricing. So get in and stay in because it's going to be a great opportunity for a very limited budget for you to get the resources and the support that help you keep leading culture well. Friends, I'm curious some of the things that you're navigating in leadership right now. I suspect I've kind of hit on them some, but I just want to encourage you that yes, leadership is hard. Yes, leadership is lonely, but it's so incredibly rewarding. And I was listening to one of the coaches me, and that I learned from. And she was reminding me that in some ways, and I think this is human nature, right? We've become more self-focused and we've forgotten the heart of service. And that's the heart of leadership, is like serving others. Leadership isn't about us. It isn't for us. It's actually for others. And you've heard me say over and over, lead yourself well to lead others better. This is one of those things that if you felt a little tired, felt a little drained, maybe you are phoning it in a little bit, because you guys, I have absolutely had those seasons where I feel like I'm kind of going through the motions. I'm doing what I need to do, but my heart and my passion aren't there at the same level that maybe they were in another season. And again, I think there's a lot of good reasons for why that's true and why we've been there. But I think this season right now is calling for leaders to step up in a new way. It's calling for us to reconnect with our why of leadership. Like, if we don't have a good reason for why we lead, we need to pause and step back and think about that. Why do you lead, right? Why do you take on the responsibility of leadership? Not everybody's wired for it. So I'm not suggesting that everybody has to do it. But if you're in a seat of leadership where you have responsibility for the stewardship of a team, there's sacred work to that. And I just want to encourage you to take evaluation of that. How are you doing? How's your heart? How's your vision for leadership? And kind of recenter why you lead. Why does leadership matter to you? Because I know it's in there. You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't have a passion for it. So, and then figure out, what do you need to lead yourself well so that you can lead others better? Do you need to be in a community and a network like the Lead Culture Network, where you can be inspired, influenced, encouraged, coached by other culture champions who are passionate about some of the same work? And so I would encourage you, if that's where you are, give it a try. By the way, the network, you can cancel anytime. So there's not a great risk. Join us, sign up for it, jump in, contribute, both give and receive inside the network, because that's when it's going to be the most meaningful and the most beneficial for you. Take some time to just think about why you lead. We need great leaders more than ever. There was a Barna stat from a couple years ago that said that I think it was 82% of 18 to 35-year-olds said we're in a leadership crisis because there are no good leaders. And that's disturbing, right? That young people are saying, I don't know if we've got any good leaders. Guys, I want us to change that. I'm on a mission to fix that 31% of US employees are engaged. I want to absolutely flip the script on that. I want to create workplaces where people are engaged, they are thriving, they are using their gifts. And it starts with leaders being intentional to lead. So I want to encourage you. You were made to influence the world in a way that no one else can. There are unique gifts, strengths, talents, abilities that you have. You are wired to lead, and we need you to lead. We need you to bring your best and bring the best out of others. And so I want to be a resource and a support in any way I can. The network is a great space for that. Keep listening to the podcast, share it with others, and let me know how we can serve you well. Because my passion is to cultivate healthy leaders who are leading thriving teams. So join me in that mission. Keep leading well, and share this with a friend. Join the network. We'll put the link in the show notes, and I will see you next week.